Welcome to today's mathematical literacy lesson. My name is Mithala Chia. This lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center. Grade 12 boys and girls, we meet again. But our main focus for today, the topic is under maps, plans, and other representations of the physical world. But the section that we'll be focusing at is assembling diagrams. I know you have already done this topic in class. For us today, it's only about part of the revision. I can say we are doing the revision because I know your teachers have already completed this topic. What is the objective of this lesson by today? What is it, the outcomes? By the end of this lesson, you should be able to complete the task presented in the instruction, the task completed in the instruction, and explain what the instruction means or represent using everyday language. So what is important? We should be able to complete a task presented in the instruction and explain what the instruction mean or represent using the everyday language. Remember now, when we talk about assembling diagrams, when we buy TVs at home, they don't come connected. You find it comes inside a box, and then when you get home, you have to put all the parts together to make sure that it is perfectly assembled, and then you are able to mount it. If you are going to mount it on the wall, they are able to mount it on the wall, or if we're going to put it on the TV stand, you are able to put it there. But after doing what? After we have assembled it, after we have put it together, because now you'll find that the legs are on the side, they've put the legs of the TV on the side, and then the screen, your flat screen, on the other side. So you have to put the parts together. So coming to our definition, the terminology that is used in assembly. To assemble, it is to put together an item following a set of given instruction or an annotated diagram. So we do what? We put together an item following a set of given instructions or an annotated diagram. So we assemble, we put those things together. We follow the instruction sheet. Remember, like I said, when you buy a TV, it will come out of the box. Or maybe if you buy a bicycle, a bicycle, you'll have to put it together because the front and the back wheel will be separated from the body of the bicycle. So you have to put it together, and for you to be able to do that, you have to go through the instruction sheet or the instruction manual. Sometimes they call it a manual or instruction sheet. Then you have to go through it with the annotated diagrams. They show you the diagrams to say this is where you start, you follow by this step, and so on. So what is an assembled diagram? Diagram. Labeled pictures that explain. The assembled diagram is a labeled pictures that explain in detail how we put, or how must we put together an item. So an assembled diagram, it guides you, it tells you through what? Picture form, to say this is where you start, in detailed how we must put together an item. Remember, boys and girls, like I said to you, if you buy yourself a phone, or if you buy yourself any item, a gadget, whatever, that you must put together, a gadget that you must put together, then you must think, oh, okay, I can't just use my common sense. I have to follow instructions, because if I make use of common sense, that's where then I will make the mistakes, and then you'll find that you say, this gadget that I bought is not functional, it's not working, only to find out that you did not follow the instructions when you were assembling it. And this topic, it's so easy, boys and girls, because you are given the diagrams that you must follow. You look at the diagram, and then you interpret it the way. So now we say, what are the tips that you must look out for when you complete this assembly diagram. You must take note of the following points when writing instruction. Remember, in grade 12, you might be given a diagram to assemble, and then they will say step number 1, step number 2, so you must follow the steps in order to be able to assemble. Or they will ask you to say, okay, fine, write down the instruction. What could be the instruction that this person must follow in order to be able to put together the item that they bought? So you must make use of a short, clear sentences. A short and clear sentences, because if it is not clear, then it is possible for you to make a mistake. So you need to make sure that you are very clear in terms of your sentences. And then you use precise or descriptive words. Like maybe, let's think about an example. When they say use a precise or a descriptive words, put the bottle under the box. So you must be precise so that you know. If they say put the bottle under the box, so you know where to put the bottle. So you don't just take the bottle and say, where must I put it? So you need to be direct, you need to be precise and give a descriptive word so that the person can be able to follow your instruction. Same applies with the doctors. When they give you a medicine, they will tell you that use 5 milliliters or drink 5 milliliters, which is equivalent to a teaspoon. So as well, when you do that, you must be precise with your instructions. And then sometimes numbering. Sometimes you can use numbering, arrows, dotted lines to help you to show the measurement, directions, and ordering. Let's go through this again, this bulletin. It says sometimes numbering, arrows, dotted lines help to show the measurement, the direction, and ordering. It means if they have used the arrows, then it's easier for me, or the numbering, to say take number 1, put it at number 4, and then take number 2, put it after number 5. So you follow the instruction, or maybe the arrow. You know, we always say we have a mind map. In English, you do the mind map, or even in other subjects, you do a mind map whereby you have to follow the instruction using the arrow to say from step 1, you come here like this. Maybe, for example, you say, this is my step 1, and then you use the arrow, you go there. This will be your step number 2, and then from number 2, you go there. It is 3. So that means we are using what? The arrows to indicate, and the numbering, even to show the direction and ordering. Diagrams should be clear. Your diagrams should be clear, large, and easily understandable. The diagrams should be clear, large, and easily understandable. Remember, if you give me a small diagram, I won't be able to interpret it. I won't be able to read it, because now maybe I am short-sighted. Then I'll need some glasses to go through the diagrams, or to go through the picture given. Then if it's not clear, it will make my life difficult in terms of assembly. If possible, a colorful diagram are very effective. That one I fully agree with. Because remember, we do a lot of things. So if the diagram is not colorful, then I won't be able to identify the piece or the object that I must use in terms of assembly. So if it is colorful, then I'll be able to say, oh, okay, looking at this instruction, looking at the real object, and then I say, oh, okay, fine. They are saying I must use this screw, and looking at the picture of the screw and looking at the real picture there, looking at the real screw, then I'm able to relate the two and say, oh, okay, this is what I must do. Then I'll pick the correct item to put at the correct place. Another thing, boys and girls, you must take note of the following points when given a set of instruction. Remember, number one, the first bulletin, we say we take note of the following points when writing the instructions. So we have just done the writing of the instruction, meaning we are giving the people or the people who are going to purchase our item a clear instruction as to how to assemble or how to put together the item that they are buying from us. Now we are coming to, if we are given a set of instruction, what points are we to look for? We say take note of the following points when given a set of instruction. Number one, read through the instruction. Make sure that you take the manual, you read through the manual first before you can start assembling or before you can start putting together the items. Number two, you identify the parts and get them ready. So you must identify those parts to say, oh, according to this instruction, that means I must put all my parts together. Part number one, part number two, part number three, and so on. Looking at at the instruction before I can start assembling. Number three, you follow the steps now in order. Remember, you are given the instruction, the manual, and then after you have read through the manual, and then you say, now let me identify the parts. It says part one, part two, part three, part four. I put them together there. I get them ready. And then after doing that, I follow the steps in order now to say step number one is this one, step number two is this one. And then when I'm done, I check that each step is completed correctly before going on to the next step. So that means, boys and girls, before you can continue and say, okay, fine, this step, it says I must do 1, 2, 3. Then when I'm done with that step, I must ensure that what is expected, it is the outcome. I get the correct outcome from following the steps, and then I move on to the next step. Because if you don't do that, that's where you'll make a mistake. So boys and girls, it's very easy with assembling tips. Number one, if you are to give the instruction, you have to be clear. You use short and clear sentences. You use precise and descriptive words. Sometimes numbering, arrows, the dotted lines help you to show the measurement, direction, and ordering. Diagrams should be clear, large, and easily understandable. Number 4, the last one, it says, if possible, a colorful diagram are very effective. Colorful diagram is very effective for those who can't maybe read, but if they look at the diagram, if they look at the pictures, they're able to relate to say, oh, this picture, it looks like this, and then they put it together based on the pictures that are colorful and clear. If you say, suppose now you buy, and then you are given a set of instructions where to start, you need to read through the instructions, identify the parts and get them ready, follow the steps in order, check that each step is completed correctly before going on to the next step. Let us have a look at this one now. It says aspects to consider when writing instructions. Remember those tips that we mentioned before. Use a clear instructions. And then now we say on this one, aspects to consider when writing an instruction. Use short, clear sentences. As you can see, here is our board. We can see now we have a side board, we have a rear board, a dual, and then main board. Now, because it is not numbered here, but it has got some arrows to show you where to put what. Even if you can't read, say maybe you are helping your father or your brother or any elderly person in your area, or your neighbor, you are helping them to put together their item that they bought, and then you are able to say to them, okay, fine, mommy, let's check what are they saying here. Then we compare, we say, okay, this one, it looks like that, because now remember the instruction is clear now, and then they've used the precise and descriptive words. Sometimes numbering, arrows and dotted lines help you to show the measurement, direction, and ordering. The example of the arrows, if we can take a look here, they have shown us with the arrows to say, you must put this over here, and then the main board, you must put it there. So with these arrows, we are able to put together this board that is given in front of us. Boys and girls, even in the exam, you must take your time, go through the instructions. Don't just answer the question without going through the instructions first. That is why it's important in each and every single thing that you complete, you must go through the instructions. Now, when you continue with aspects to consider when writing instructions, diagrams should be clear, large, and easily understandable. Now, when you look at this diagram is clear enough, because I can see the sideboard must be placed here. It must come in this side. And then the rear board, there it is. And then we say this is our main board. And then the jewels, there the jewels, where to place them, because they show exactly to say this one, it comes here. Through what? Through the clear diagram, a colorful and very effective one. It's easy for you to follow this instruction just merely by looking at the diagram, because now it's colorful and it is very effective. I hope we are still together, boys and girls. If you have some questions, don't be afraid to ask your teacher, maybe to explain, or when you have time, jot down your questions, and then when you are done watching this video, when you get home, you can sit down and replay. Remember, you can download these videos into your phone, and then when you are at home now, you can have more time to sit, and then you watch through step by step, and you are able to follow what you have been doing here in the studio. Aspects to consider when giving a set of instruction. It says assemble instruction now. As you can see, on the first one, on the previous one, we are just given a board. Here, we are given a board. And then it didn't say anything about put this there, put that there. It doesn't have a step, but it is a clear and colorful diagram with arrows. Then now with this one, with this slide, we are given this assembling instruction. That's what we are given now. They are telling us what to do. Now, for you to be able to do that, boys and girls, we need to read through the instructions first before you can attempt assembling or putting together your item that you bought. Then you must do what? Read through the instructions first, identify the parts and get them ready. That's what we said. It's one of the tips. You must identify the parts and get them ready. Follow the steps in order. So as you can see alongside here, we are given the number of steps. It says step number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And each and every single step, it has a task next to it. That means you are given the assemble step and you are given a task. What to do on that step. If it says step number 1, for example, it says glue the base to bottom support. So that means you look at this. This is what you are to do in step number 1. And which tool are you going to use? They have given us the tool to be a glue. So that means when you put together the table or whatever item that you bought, then what you do, you go through the steps, and then you say, you read through the instruction, you identify the parts, you put them or you get them ready first before you can start working or before you can start putting them together. And then you go through now what? Your assembling instruction. And then on your assembly instruction, you follow the steps in order. To say step number 1 says I must do this. And then now remember what it says. Step number 1, they tell you this is step number 1. You must glue the base to the bottom support. And then what the tool that you're going to use there, it will be the glue. And then you leave it for how many hours? Remember now with your instruction, it has got hours for 12 hours. That means when you put together here, I think it's a table, it can be a table, it can be whatever. Then if it has time, it means we have to follow the time, because if we don't follow the time given, then you won't get the results you desired, because now you did not follow the time. So it says you must put it and then you must leave it for 12 hours. And then you go to the next step now. Step number 2, it says glue main body bottom half to top half. So it means you are putting the main body, the bottom and the top together now. And then what you do, it says you must glue it and then leave it for how many hours? For 12 hours. So you do it step by step. Once you miss a step, and then that's where a problem lies. Now, because it says check that each step is completed correctly before going to the next step. As you have seen, I said to you, what we do, we start with step number 1. We finish it. It says wait for 12 hours. After you have glued to the base to the bottom support, you leave it for what? For 12 hours. And then after 12 hours, you go to the next step. Now, the next step, it says glue the main body bottom half to top half. You glue those two together. And then you put it there for how many hours again? For 12 hours, because that is the instruction you are given that you must follow. And then you go to the next step now. Step number 3. On our step number 3, it says glue. If we can check here, it says glue, glue, glue. But when you go down, it's no longer glue, we'll see. Because we are putting together something here. And then it says glue the bottom and the top support to main body. You glue together those. And then again, you leave it for 12 hours. After 12 hours, it has passed. Now you come to the next step, which will be your step number 4. So each and every single step must be completed before we can move to the next step. So step number 5 there, it says feed power cable through lamp stand, strip cable wires and connect wires to bulb holder. So meaning they are telling you what to do. They say you must feed the power cable through the lamp holder stand, strip the cable wires and connect wires to bulb holder. And then they are telling us the tool that you must use in order to do that. It is a flat edge screwdriver. And then you do that for 3 minutes. And then after you have done that, you move on to the next step. And so on step number 5, strip the cable wires and connect to 13 amp or AMP plug. And then you follow this again. You must go through it. And then remember, we said before we can start, we must put all the parts together on a side. Get them ready. Everything that you are going to use, you must get it ready first. And then when it's ready, then it's easier for you now to say, this is where to start and then this is what to do. And then which tool are we going to use? We use a flat edge screw for 3 minutes again. Step number 6, as you can see now, we are fitting in what? The cable onto the bulb holder or onto the globe holder. The stand, remember we have put together the stand. Now we are feeding the stand with the cables now and the plug. Now step number 6, it says feed the bulb holder to the top support and pull back excess cable through the base. So what are you going to use there? They say you must use your hands to do that. For how long? For 2 minutes. So that means you must pull that cable to make sure that it comes out, the excess cable comes out through the base. That is your step number 6. Then you move on to your step number 7. And remember, each and every single step, it has got the tool that you must use. It also has the time that you must wait before you can move to the next one. Now, step number 7, it says remove top ring on the lamp base, fit the lamp shade and screw top ring back to hold it right. Boys and girls, this is easy. With assembling diagrams, you can help your parents. We don't need a neighbor to come and assist us in putting together the items that we bought, because we are able to read and we follow the instructions given to us step by step, and then we'll get the desired results. And what tool are we going to use? It is our hands. So boys and girls, don't forget, assembling instruction. You are given the instruction. All that you need to do is to follow the steps when you are given the instructions, from step number 1 up until the last step, and ensuring that each and every single step, it is completed before you can move on to the next step. Even if you get this similar type of question in the exam, don't panic. You must know that, oh, okay, from this step, this is where I must go. From this step, this is where I must go. And then at the end, this is the desired item or the results that I am to get. So if I don't get that desired results, that means I've gone wrong somewhere on my steps. Then I must go back and redo it up until I get it correct. I hope we are still following each other, boys and girls. Now let's have a look at the possible exam question. Let us have a look at the possible exam question. The diagram alongside shows the piece that can be assembled to make a table that Anati bought. A diagram alongside this diagram, it shows the pieces that can be assembled to make a table that Anati bought. Now you are given these pieces. Remember, I said the table or whatever that we buy, it doesn't come readily used to be used. You must put it together because it will be difficult to transport it. Remember, when we're doing the packaging, we said we need to ensure that our items are safely packaged so that they reach our homes in a safe state, in a good condition. They are not being compromised. So even the same here, that's what is happening. We bought a table, but that table, it comes out in a box, and then when you get home, there are pieces given there. You have to put them together to have your desired outcome, which is our table over here. Now, question number 1, it says, determine the number of pieces needed to assemble this table. Now, boys and girls, you go through the instruction. Remember, we have a box here. And then as we take it out, there are pieces given to us. It says determine the number of pieces needed to assemble this table, number of pieces. And when I look at my diagram here, it says 1 piece of the tabletop, and then 2 pieces of the legs, 8 pieces of the screws, and 1 piece of the Allen key. This is the key that they use to screw together the screws onto the legs of the table, or to screw together the legs of the table onto the tabletop. So now let's have a look. It says determine the number of pieces. That means it will be 1. I'll take this one first. It will be 1 plus the second one. It's got 2 pieces plus this 8 pieces of the screws, and plus 1 piece of the Allen key. So in total, how many pieces do I have? It's 8 plus 2, it's 10, 11, 12. So we've got 12 what? 12 pieces. We've got 12 pieces. I hope we are still together. Now you can see how to apply this information in reality and even in a question paper. So if we get this, don't panic, don't say this is too difficult. It is not difficult. What you need to do, you need to go through your slide, you need to go through your instruction, check, okay, because we said you must put together first before we can start, and then say, oh, okay, they said there is one piece of this tabletop, you put it aside, and then you come and say, okay, they say there are 2 pieces of the table legs, and then you put them there, and then 8 pieces of screws, you put the screws there, and then 1 piece of Allen key. This is what you have, and then you've placed everything together. They are ready to be assembled. Let's continue, boys and girls. Now, number B, it says arrange the given steps. Now you need to arrange it. Now you are the one who is giving the instructions. Arrange the given steps using A to D to show Anati how this table can be assembled. You need to do what? You need to show Anati how this table can be assembled. So now, looking at this, here it is the final outcome, the final output that we must get, our desired output. We must get a table standing like this, which is similar to what? To this one. Now, can I start with A? No. A is it's a final output. It is the final assembling, what we are expecting after putting together all the pieces. We are expecting to get this table. But where do we start now? We said we start by placing together everything here. We must make sure that all is there. It's available. And then you start by doing what? By number B. My step 1, it will be B. Why B, boys and girls? Remember the piece of the table, it's single. Here is our piece of table. It's single there. That means you have to place the piece of the table facing up on the floor. You must clean your surface first, and then you put your piece of a table, the tabletop, on the floor facing up, so that you can see where to put the legs or where to screw the legs. And then you go to the next step. Now we have step number 1 as number B, and then you go to step number D. If you can just allow me to say step number 2, which will be D. Why am I saying D? D, you have to put these 2 pieces of the legs. Now you have to put them here, the legs of the table, here they are. You have to put them there. Where? On the table top. Remember, we said we take the tabletop, you place it on the surface, on the floor, and then facing it upwards, so that you can see the bottom part of the table. Then you are able to identify, okay, this is the point where the legs are to be screwed on. Here, these are the points where the legs are to be screwed at. So now the step number 3, it will be number C. So with number C now, because you have placed the legs at the correct position on the table underneath. Remember, the table is facing upwards now, and then the top part it's on the floor, and then the bottom part, which when you lift your table, what you can see underneath, then it's the one that is facing up, so that you are able to fit or to screw the legs. So then step number 3, you have placed, step number 2, you have placed these 2 pieces, which are the legs. You have placed them at the correct spot, and then now you use your screws now to screw. You use the screws now to screw the legs on the table. And then the last one now, for me, it will be step number 4. I can relate it to A. A now, it is the desired outcome. What is it that we wanted to get after assembling or putting together all the pieces that we received from the box? It is the table, the one that is A. I hope you still follow me, boys and girls. It's so simple. It's so simple, because what you need to do is to be able to follow the instructions. Now let's continue, boys and girls. With this one, it says parts list. The question, let's go through the question first before we can even look at the diagram given or the instruction given. Let's go through the question. It says Tammy bought a table. He found the following instructions included with packaging. Study the instruction and answer the following questions. So when he bought a table, it came out with this parts list. Then it says label C, label D, label E, and then hardware. These are the part list, and then the hardware. What are you going to use to put together the table? And then we've got label 1 and 2, which means our label 1, it is the screw. And then remember what I said to you, if the instruction, the diagrams are clear, are large and clear, it is easier for us to put it together, because now I can relate. I look at the instruction sheet or the assembling diagram here, I look at it, and then I go to the real life thing, and then I say, oh, okay, this is how the screw looks. I look there at the picture, I look at the screw, then I'm able to relate the two. I know which part to use. Now it says, how many parts are needed to assemble a coffee table? The question says, how many parts are needed to assemble a coffee table? And looking at this instruction, we've got what? Part list. We are given the part list. Now from our part list, it says how many parts. Now let's have a look. We have a quantity here. It says picture A, the description. Remember, it's the label A, the picture, the description, and the quantity. So with number 1, part A or part C, we have only one quantity for the tabletop frame, and then a tempered glass, it's only one, and then the legs, how many are they? Plus 4. So all in all, we've got 6 parts. We've got 6 parts given, because a question says how many parts are needed to assemble a coffee table. So we've got 6 parts. Counting here, you say it is 1 plus 4. We are not talking about the hardware, because a question did not say how many parts including the hardware. It says how many parts. So we are only focusing on the parts. I hope you got it together, boys and girls. If you don't understand, ask your teacher, or you can jot down the questions, and then when you are done, you can ask your teacher for assistance. Now, the next question, it says explain or write down explanation for each step indicated below. Write down an explanation for each step indicated below, for each step indicated. Now you go to your instruction sheet, now to your assembling diagram. Now they have given us step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, and step number 4. Now step number 1, what do we see in step number 1? For me, what I see in step number 1, it is the number of legs. I'm counting how many are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm seeing the tabletop frame. There it goes. It's number 1. And then the tempered glass. It's 1. So now remember, as part of the instruction, we said we must make sure that we put together all the parts given before we can start. So now we're saying step number 1, put together all the parts before you can start. Before you can start assembly. Because I have a limited space, I will just leave it there. So now we need to put together all the parts, ensure that each and every single part is there that is being mentioned on the part list. And then step number 2 now, we start putting together now. For step number 2, what are we doing? We are putting, or we are screwing. Step number 2, it says we screw the legs onto the table top frame. That's what we are doing. We screw the legs, as you can see here. Now we are screwing the legs onto the tabletop frame. And then step number 3. Step number 3, boys and girls, what do we do now? We make sure that the table with the table structure, let me put it as the structure now, because it's no longer pieces, loose pieces. We have put together now a structure. In our structure now, we have the table now. The table with the 4 legs, tabletop frame with the 4 legs put together. Now we say on the structure there, step number 3, we put now, or we place the tempered glass. We place the tempered glass onto what now? Onto our table frame. We place the tempered glass onto our table frame. Remember, now we have completed our frame. We have screwed the legs onto what? Onto the tabletop frame, and then the table nightstands, and then now the last part is just to take the tempered glass, you place it on top of the table now. Then step number 4, this is our last step. It is the desired outcome. So we have assembled with step number 4. We have the assembled table. This is our step number 4. As we can see, in step number 4, we have assembled the table now. As you can see there are our steps. Step number 1, we put all the parts together before we can start, and then ensuring that everything is there and it's readily available. And then step number 2, now we say we screw the legs onto the tabletop frame. Remember, now the tabletop frame is facing upwards, and then we just screw the legs there using the screws and the Allen key. So it means when we are doing this portion, when we are doing this part now of putting the legs here, what are we using? We are using the screws now, meaning step number 2, like when I say screw together, we take the screws now or the bolts, and then we just put it there on the bolt slots, and then we screw using the Allen key. When we are done now, we place now the tempered glass. Here is our tempered glass. We place it on the table, and then step number 4, we have an assembled table, which is our desired outcome. What is it that we wanted to see? Boys and girls, I like this question very much, because this one, we are so familiar with it. It is our everyday. When I call you here, I say, hey, come and assist me. I can't open this slot here. As you can see here, they will tell you what is it that you must do. You look at the instruction picture 1, and then followed by picture 2, 3, and 4. You have to follow. It says Lihle bought herself a cell phone. She wants to insert her SIM card into the phone. This is what Lihle wants to do now. She wants to insert her SIM card into the phone. In order to do that, she has to follow instructions as shown alongside. Now it says, briefly explain step number 1 to 4. Also name the paths. It says also name the paths where these steps are. So now with step number 1, when you look at the step number 1, what are we having here? We are having a pin. We know that pin, and as ladies, if you can't find a pin, what do we use? We use our earrings. So our earrings, that pin, it looks exactly like our earrings. So we just use, you take out your earring and then you say, oh, okay, here's my earring, here's my sample, and then you look there. Here is the similar to that pin there. And then what we do with that, and then we unlock or we open the SIM card tray. So step number 1 here. Step number 1, what do? We open or unlock the SIM card tray. The SIM card tray using the opening. Using the pin, the opening pin. We use that pin now. We push it there, and then we'll be able to open or unlock the SIM card tray. And then step number 2. Now I don't have a space. I've got step number 2. Tell me now, at step number 2, what do we do now? We pull out now. Remember, we have opened. Now we pull out. We pull out the SIM card tray. We pull it out. We pull out the SIM card tray. This is the step number 2 now. As you can see, we are pulling out this SIM card tray. The arrow shows us what to do. Even with step number 1, the arrow shows that we take this pin and then we unlock the SIM card tray with it. Now step number 2, now we have to pull out this SIM card tray. And then now step number 3, we put now, let me just write here for step number 3. Step number 3, what we say now, we put the SIM card facing where now? We put the SIM card on the SIM card tray. On the SIM card tray. That's what we are doing. And then the SIM card must be facing where? Facing up. So that means our SIM card must be facing up, and then we put the SIM card onto the SIM card tray. And then now step number 4. Step number 4. What do we do now? We insert now. We push it back now. We insert the SIM card tray. We insert the SIM card tray, or we insert the tray with a SIM card. So you can say a SIM card tray or a tray with a SIM card in it, and then we push it we put it in the phone. So we insert the SIM card tray in the phone now. So we can take the SIM card tray now. Remember, we have pulled out that SIM card tray, and then we have placed the SIM card on it facing upwards, and then now we have to insert it back. Now what we are doing, we are inserting it back. We are inserting a SIM card tray, or we are inserting the tray with the SIM card facing up in the phone. Now we are pushing it inside the phone. That's where it's going. And then we have our phone ready now with a SIM card being placed in or inserted in. This is our desired results. Boys and girls, I want us to cover as much as possible so that you are exposed to different types of questions that are examinable, that you can get or that you might find in your exam paper. So remember, this part, it is the paper 2. This topic, it forms part of paper 2, the assembling. So now with this one, it's so simple, boys and girls. You look at the question before you can attempt answering it. You must read the question through, look at the picture, and then you come up with the answer. It says, Miss Mofokeng bought a study desk. The diagram below shows the last stage of assembling a desk. This diagram given here, it shows the last stage. It shows the last stage of the assembling a desk. Study the diagram and use it to help answer the questions. Now it says, determine the number of screws needed to fix 2 of this school desk. Determine the number of screws needed to fix 2 of this school desk. So here it's 1 school desk. The diagram shows us 1 school desk. But now a question says, determine the number of screws. So meaning 1 school desk. 1 school desk will require how many screws? You look at the diagram. How many screws here? It indicates these are the screws, and then how many needed? It's 6. So 1 school desk requires 6. And then now they say Miss Mofokeng bought this to fix 2 of this school desk. Not only 1, but 2. And 1 desk uses 6 screws, and then the 2 will use how many? So 2 school desk will be 6 times 2, which will give us what? 12. So we'll need 12 screws to fix the 2 school desk. Boys and girls, I hope you are still following. Now it says, remember, this is the last part of assembling the desk together. They have already put other parts together. Now we are only doing the last part now, which is doing what? Screwing the screws onto the screw slots. So now we say determine the direction. Now here we are looking at the direction. Remember, this topic, it falls under maps, plans, and other representations. So now it says determine the direction which the screw is tightened. Is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? Boys and girls, let me quickly draw a clock for you. I know my circle is not perfect. We've got 12, 3, 6, 9. And then in between here, we've got the numbers. So now we've got, it's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sorry, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. As you have seen, this is the center of my clock. Now, if you can notice, when I was doing this, when I was numbering, I did not do this. When I'm numbering, I've got this. Before I can do the numbering, now I have 12 here. I did not say 12 and then I said 11, 10. If it goes this way, this direction, we say it is anti-clockwise because our clock doesn't move in an opposite direction, anti-clockwise. But if it moves this way, it starts from 12, it goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, not starting from 12, then it says 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You can see now, I am doing the opposite. 4, 3, 2, 1. I am going anti-clockwise because I've started from 12 and then going this way. We call it an anti-clockwise. But if I start from 12 going this way now, in this direction, we say it is a clockwise direction. Now let's have a look here in our diagram given. In our diagram given, we can see there's an arrow there on the screw there on top using the Allen key. And then our arrow is facing this way. Now a question says, determine the direction in which the screw is tightened. Is it a clockwise or anti-clockwise? So the direction now we say it is what? It is clockwise. As you can see, it says you must go this way. You must screw it this way, not the other way around. So it means you must start here and then you must move around. As you can see, it says you must start go like this. We say it is a clockwise. If it goes this way, it starts here. We say it is a clockwise. I hope you got it correct, boys and girls. Let's have a look at this question now. Or maybe before we can go through with our question number 5, let's quickly go and drink some water and then come back, energized. Remember, water, it will give us some life. We need to take it. So I'm giving you 2 minutes break and then we'll come back to it.
Excellent. Excellence is a habit. Excellence is a quality you have, a quality I have. It's a quality we have when we honor what is true to us. Yes, we are gifted differently. uNkulunkulu akasinganga ngokufana. Excellence is striving for your best. Whenever you have a particular project, test, homework, uzibuze, ask yourself, is this my best? Can I put in more effort? Excellence is striving to be in the top 1% of the area in which you are gifted. And so I challenge you, in every single thing that you do, in every single area that you're gifted in, whether it's sports, it's academic, ucula, whatever that gift is, strive for excellence.
Welcome back, boys and girls. I hope you had your water and now you are feeling refreshed again. Let's continue with our question, the possible examination question. These are the types of questions that you can expect in the exam. Miss Ndlovu, the manager of the theater, bought a table for her home. The pieces needed to assemble the table comes in a box and the assemble instructions are shown below. Study the diagram and use it to help you answer the questions. Now, question number 1. It says study the diagram and use it to help you answer the questions. Question number 1, determine the number of screws that are provided to assemble the table. What are we looking for? We are looking for the number of screws. It says determine the number of screws that are provided to assemble the question. So when you look at the assemble instruction here now, it says how many screws. We are given this number. So it means our answer here, it says identify or determine. You just look at the instructions and then you identify the correct answer there. So we need four screws, because it says determine the number of screws. It never said how many, because it never said the bolt and the washer. No, it says the screws. So the screws, there are only 4. It says determine the number of screws that are provided to assemble this table. So the answer will be 4 screws. And don't just write 4. You must write 4 screws because there are other parts given there. Now it says name one tool that has to be used to assemble the table. One tool that must be used to assemble the table. So looking at this, it says name one. Not both tools, but just one. And you look into your diagram here. How many tools are we given? We say tools for assemble. Then we have a drill and a wrench. And then now we say, okay, fine, you can choose, because they say you must just name one. You don't name 2, but you just name one. You can say a drill, because it's a tool for assemble. It's a drill. Or remember now, in an exam, you don't write an or, because in the examination, when we mark your question, this question, then if you give me an option of or, that means you say, I must choose for you the correct answer. And sometimes you find that the first answer is incorrect and then the second answer is correct. But now if you say or, that means you are saying, I must choose for you the correct answer. And you forfeit the marks, because I'm not allowed to choose for you. You have to tell me, because the question says name one tool. You can say a drill. If you don't say a drill, you can say a wrench. That is what we are expecting. But once you say a drill or a wrench, it means you're saying I must choose one for you. And the question wants you to name only one tool. Let's continue now. The next question, it says identify the step. Identify the step. Give number only. In the assembly structure, instruction that represents the following instruction. Use the bolt and the washer to install the table base to the support pole. It says use the bolt and the washer to install the table base to the table support pole. So now we go back to our instruction sheet. We look, okay, this one is a table base, and then here is the support. This one is a support. As I can see, there's the tabletop. Now the screws are there, and then the bolt and the washer is there. Now looking at this, for me it will be this one. I know, boys and girls, because the numbers are not given here, we can say here this is our step number 1, and then here it is our step number 2, and then this will be our step number 3. So that step, it will represent the entire thing that we see there. So now I can say to you, this step, use the bolt and the washer to install the table base to the table support pole. So where's the table base? This is the support, and then here's the table base. So here is our table base, and then here is our support pole. So this is our table base, and then our support pole. That means this step, it is the relevant one, whereby we can just simply say it is the step number 3. Use the bolt and the washer to install the table base on the table base to the table support pole. There we go. This is the step that we are referring to. So if I can say, okay, fine, if I use it this way, I say it's 1, I can be 2 when going clockwise. That will be my number 1, my number 2, number 3, and then this will be my number 4. So if I go clockwise, and then this is number 3, step number 3. So the step number 3, it is the one that this instruction is referring to. Don't forget, boys and girls, always read the questions thoroughly before you can write your answer, before you can draw a conclusion. The next question says, what kind of shape is the long part of the pole? This long part, this part, what kind of shape is that one? I hope by now you know all the shapes, because we have done different shapes. So is it a square? Looking at this, I don't see a square. Is it a triangle? Remember now, these are the shapes that we have. This is a rectangle. This is our rectangle shape, and then this is our circle, and then we have our triangle. Now with this one, now looking at this one, this is the shape, the long shape of the pole. We say it's what now? It is a cylinder. The shape now, it's a cylinder shape. So is it this one, the rectangle? No, it falls off. Is it a circle? No. Is it a triangle? No. If I am to include a square, is it a square? No, but it is what? A cylinder. So you just need to identify. The most important thing, identify, go through the instruction, and then you identify all the pieces. Now, the next possible question. Peter bought a piece of furniture that needs to be assembled. It is made up of a wooden top, a wooden frame, and metal screws and bolts. So we have a wooden top, one piece there, and then we have wooden frame, two pieces of a wooden frame, and then metal screws. So here's our frame. We've got these two pieces of a frame. Here they are, the two pieces of a frame. And then we have our metal screws. There they've given us the screws. Here they are, the screws, the bolt and the nuts. The bolt and, yes, the bolt and the nuts. So usually we say we call it a bolt and nut because a nut is the one that is locking. So we also given what? One Allen key and the screws. Now it says determine the quantity of wooden parts. Now we look at our diagram here. How many wooden parts do we have? We have one piece of a wooden part, and then we've got two pieces again. Remember here, these are the wooden parts, all of them. It's two, and then we've got two of these pieces here, and then we have another two of these pieces. So all in all, now let's see. We've got two plus another two pieces. We are having this one piece, which is the tabletop, wooden tabletop, and then two pieces of wooden frame, and then plus the single pieces, two, because now as you can see here, when we are putting together our table, we've got the two frames on the sides, and then we have now the tabletop. So here's our four single pieces, here the twos, and then we have two parts that goes at the side, at the bottom and the top, and then we have the tabletop. So all in all, we've got 7 wooden parts. That's what we have, all in all, the wooden parts. Here it's so easy, boys and girls, to identify, because you can just count these top parts are the wooden parts, because we are only given the wooden parts and the screws and the Allen key, nothing else. So it's easier for you to identify. If they say the wooden parts, that means you go straight into your diagram sheet and then say, oh, okay, fine, these are the rest are the bolts. So what am I looking for? I am only looking for the wooden parts. So we've got 7 wooden parts. Now it says determine, the next question, determine the total number of bolts and screws. Now, how many bolts and screws do we have? We've got 8 bolts plus 8 screws. We've got 8 bolts and 8 screws. All in all, we've got 16 pieces now. We've got 16 pieces because it is 8 plus 8. We have taken it from here. The screws, they are 8, and then the bolts, they are also 8. So we just add those pieces, and then they gave us 16. The next question, identify the part number that can be used to tighten the bolt. Identify. Now we have to go through our diagram sheet again. We have to identify the part number that can be used to tighten the bolts. So looking at this, remember these top parts, the number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the wooden parts. And then we've got number 5. Number 5, we've got bolts. Number 6, it is the Allen key. And then the Allen key, we use it now to do what? To tighten the bolts. And then we've got the screws. So it means if a question says identify the part number, here they don't say name, but they say identify the part number that can be used to tighten the bolt. The part number, it will be number 6. That is our correct answer. Part number is number 6 because this is the only part that we use. Part number 6, which is what? An Allen key. But here the question did not want you to name the key, but it says the number, identify the number part that can be used to tighten the bolt, which is number 6. I hope we are still together, boys and girls. Now let's go through this one. It says, must the screw be turned in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction? Must the screw be turned in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction? Boys and girls, I like this one. It's so clear. It's so clear. Don't even need to think. Remember what I said about the clockwise. The clockwise is the way our clock is running. It's running from right to left. So here's our clock. 12, 3, 6, 9. And then we say it starts from right going to the left. So now, as you can see here, they have shown you the direction. Is the direction clockwise or anti-clockwise? Because you have given the direction here to be 180 degrees. So that means it has to move in which direction? As you can see, even here, you can see that the screw is turning this way, like our clock. So we say the answer is clockwise. That is our answer for this question. It is clockwise. So boys and girls, you just go through the instructions given and then you follow them as they are, and then you identify the answers. Now it says, name the piece of furniture Peter assembled. This one now. Remember, all this, Peter was busy putting it together to make something. When he was putting these pieces together, he wanted a certain desired outcomes. Now, those desired outcomes, these are the results. Now, what do we call this now? We can say it is a table, or you can name it a side table. You can say it's a table or a side table. One of the answers is acceptable. You say a table or a side table. That is what Peter wanted to get a piece of furniture after he has put together all the pieces that were given. Now, question 5, boys and girls. It says, Thabiso bought a chair which still must be assembled. Below is a picture of the assembled chair showing different parts with some dimensions in inches. It says, note this 8 when you see it with the apostrophes, and then it refers to 8 inches. It says, write the following as a simplified ratio, the width of the chair. Now we must look at the width of the chair, the height of the chair, and okay, it is only the width of the chair and the height of the chair. So what is the height of the chair now? We start with the width of the chair. The width of the chair is 18, because from here to here, that's how wide is the chair. It is 18 inches. And then now they said in a ratio form. And then now we want to know what the height of the chair. The height of the chair is 42 inches. Now, boys and girls, just give me a minute so that I can go and get my calculator, because as mathematicians, we need to have our weapons next to us. And I left my weapon on the table for us to get the correct answer. Remember now, when we write it in a simplified ratio, we need to get a number that can go into 18 without leaving a remainder, and the very same number must also go into 42 without leaving a remainder. Let me quickly go and get my calculator. Will come back in a second. Welcome back, boys and girls. I have my calculator now with me. And then remember the question, it says, write the following as a simplified ratio. Why did I go and take my calculator? We need accuracy, boys and girls, in class. You know, when you answer this type of questions, be as accurate as possible. So we want a number that can go into 18 without leaving a remainder. The same number must also go into 42 without leaving a remainder. So which number is that one? The number is 6. And then now we say 6 goes how many times into 18? It's 6, 12, 18. So it goes 3 times. And then into 42, it goes how many times? It goes 7 times. So, and again, boys and girls, it's so simple. You can use your calculator. You can say 18, and then you divide it by what? By 42. And then you get your answer. It will be 3 over 7. That 3 over 7, it means the numerator, it is your left-hand number, and then the denominator, it is your right-hand number. So the answer is 3:7. We have simplified, even if you don't use a calculator, if you know your mathematics, but double check using your calculator. Now, let's have a look at this one. It says, how many, convert the height of the chair to millimeters. You are given what? The conversion table now. The conversion factor. As you can see, they are telling us that 1000 millimeters is equal to 3,28084 feet. And then 12 inches is equals to 1 foot. Now, what information are we given? They are saying to us, we need to convert the height of the chair. What is the height of the chair? The height of the chair is 42 inches. So if the height of the chair is 42 inches, therefore, the first step that we need to do, we need to convert these inches now into what? Into foot. So we say 12 inches. 12 inches is equals to 1 foot. And then 42 inches will be unknown. And then we quickly perform what? Our cross multiplication method, or you call it a Parrot method or a cross multiplication method. So here we'll be having 12 multiplied by the unknown, and then we have 42 multiplied by 1. Remember, these units of inches, they fall off now. And then we have our answer to be 42 this side. Here we have 12 multiplied by the unknown, which is the foot, because we want to determine the foot. We can say the foot. And then now we say, okay, fine. We divide by 12. We divide by 12. So quickly we say 42 divided by 12. It gave us what? 3,5 what now? We have 3,5 feet. We have now 3,5 feet, because now the question says we must convert the inches to the feet before we can continue. So we've got 3,5 feet, and then from this 3,5 feet now, we must convert it to what now? To millimeters. And then we quickly use our conversion table there, or which is 3,28084. And then now we are placing now. We say, okay, what is unknown? This one, the millimeters is unknown. What we know, it is the feet now. We've got 3,5 feet. And then now we perform our calculation, the Peyer's method, or the cross multiplication method, whichever way you call it. And then you will have the unknown multiply by 3,28084 equals to 1,000 multiplied by 3,5. So now quickly we say 3,5 multiplied by 1,000. It gave us 3,500. Now we've got 3,500, and then on the other side, this 3,500, it is in millimeters, and then now on the other side, we just have to divide now. For us to remain with the unknown part, we divide by the conversion factor, which is 3,28084. And then it's 3,500 divided by 3,28084. Our answer will be 1,066,799,966, and it is in millimeters. And now, boys and girls, because they never said anything about rounding off your answer, then we round it off, because remember on our instructions it says round off your answer to 2 decimal places unless stated otherwise. And then now our answer will be 1066,80 millimeters if I round it off to 2 decimal places. That is the correct answer, boys and girls. I hope you also got it as it is. Now, let's continue. It says, choose and assemble instruction from column B that matches a picture in column A. You must choose and assemble instruction from a column B, this side from column B, that matches a picture in column A. Now, number 1, it says, attach the stretcher to the front legs as shown using a glue and a screw. Now, before we can even go on, let's go back to this diagram. Now, here, they show us the back leg. Here's the height of the back leg, as you can see there. And then they've shown us the stretcher. Here's the stretcher here. Now, boys and girls, you need to identify those parts. Now, these are the side stretchers. And then here is our stretcher right in front. And then we have a seat and a steps. Now, a question says, we must put this together now. As we are putting this together, now we say, oh, okay, fine. Which one matches that column? Attach to the stretcher. Now, our stretcher is this one. Remember? That means I can simply say, do this. Attach the front leg, this one, it goes there to save time because we don't have time on our side anymore. And then it says, attach the front legs to the back of the, attach the front legs to the back legs with the stretcher. So now with this one, it goes together because now remember our stretcher is this one, and then these are the front legs. And then it says screw the back slats using a glue screws. Position the back stretcher on the legs as shown, then secure using a glue. So I hope, boys and girls, you understand. So I can simply go back now to my drawing and say now, number 1, A, it matches with what? With 3. And then my B now will match with 2. And then my C will match with 1. I hope you got it correct, boys and girls. Now, another question. It says, state whether the P or Q represents, the P or Q represents the side stretcher. The P or the Q. And here is our side stretcher. Now it says, state whether the P or Q represents the side stretcher. Now looking at this, boys and girls, if we check the P is straight. Can we fit this here straight as it is on this part? Or this, because it slants backwards a bit here. Is it a Q that has got this angle here? Or this one, P, that is straight. But by looking at this and looking at the shape of the chair, we can see that it has slanted back a bit. And then the correct answer is Q. So Q is the one that represents the stretcher. And always, boys and girls, make sure that you write your answer at the end. Q represents the side stretcher. Now, the next question. The seat is shown in the sketch below. The notches, they're the notches holding the top part of the seat. Now it says, describe how would you position the seat so that it is attached to the rest of the structure. Use the given letters A, B, C, D on the picture. So where the letters, it is A, B, C, D on the picture, and SR, S and R. Where is our S there? Our S, it is there, this one, okay, the seat, and then we have our what? The S, the R on the sketches. Let's have a look. Where is our R there on the sketches? Okay, we have the seat, and then we have the side stretcher here. Now, boys and girls, it says use the given letters A, B, C on the pictures and SR on the sketches. So here is our SR here, the S and the R. Now it says we must use all this information now. Use it to give the instruction how to attach. So now you say, you hold, because now I want to give a simple instruction. you hold the notches, which is S and R, in a correct position, aligned with A, B, C, D. And the next one, you place the S and R at the corner, B and C. So if I say that, let's go back, you hold the notches in this position, you make sure that you are placed in the correct position aligned with A, B, C, D, and then you place the S and R at the corner of B and C. So that means S will go with B and then R will go with C, so that it is tightly placed. So that is the instruction. So we know that if we have done that, then your seat, it is correctly placed on the table, on the chair. Boys and girls, thank you for listening today. And I hope that we are going to be able to continue with our lesson, so that we touched on the topics that we could not finish on our last lesson. So, but I know when we do the revision for in preparation of paper 1 in the coming week, then you will be able to complete this part of probability, as we could not complete it in the last session. Thank you for watching, and make sure that you practice when you get home, boys and girls. Go through this lesson again, play it over and over again, follow the instruction, answer the questions as they are being posted there on the slides, and then if you have a challenge, you can go back and ask your teacher, so that you get the correct answers, you get the marks during the prelim exams. This, I hope it has helped you to obtain the results that you wanted. Now you have more clarity in terms of assembly. What you need to do, you must just remember that when you do the assembling part, the instruction part, if you are to give the instruction, make sure that your instructions are short and clear. Make sure that your diagrams are large enough and they are colorful, so they're easy to follow. You use the arrows, the numbers, and the sketches to be able to put together your instruction, or to follow the instruction when you assemble. Those are the tips that you can use in terms of writing the instruction. But if you are given the instruction, you just need to read through the instruction, follow them step by step up until you reach the desired end product at the end, and make sure that you go through each and every single step before you can move to the next step. Make sure that the previous step is completely done according to the instruction. Thank you for watching this lesson. I hope you enjoyed. We'll meet again in the next session of the revision with our teacher that will be here to assist you with the revision. Thank you. Have a lovely day.